It's so funny to look at this and be like, nah, he's lying actually. Like why would he lie in the direction that is critical of America? A lot of these idiots consume this media and like literally refuse to reckon with the reality. What is this? Comedian Walter Masterson gets almost instantly attacked by Zionist protesters for talking about Star Wars. The media won't show you this because they're too busy trying to portray the pro-Palestinian protesters as violent.
Nothing wrong.
I love Walter. Walter is the GOAT.
Up Alderaan. The liberal media is not going to tell you that. The Rebel Alliance kidnaps children and they indoctrinate them.
This is great because it's like, yeah, it's boomer humor, but like that's the target audience that needs to hear it the most. Bro, if you ask me one more time if I'm going to come back to the UCLA protest, I'm going to put you in the UCLA protest. Look at this guy. Are you going back to UCLA? Are you going back to UCLA? Are you going back to UCLA again? Are you going back to UCLA again?
Hasan, he's got a question. You going to answer it or what? Are you going back to UCLA or not?
Today? No.
Okay, there we go. So now stop asking. You got your answer.
Bro, don't you think that this is suspicious?
Oh, like maybe they're crazy?
I can't tell if it's like a stalker, hater who wants to kill me. You know what I mean?
It could be both.
That's what it is. Bro, it's the Dean. Oh, yeah, that's right. His name is It's Dean. Stop enabling the weirdos, man.
Me?
How much you want to bet this guy is going to still ask that question again? He's going to be like, are you still...
He's a mobile user.
We're going to talk about Star Wars. Wait, is there a Star Wars area? Wait, there's a special area to talk about Star Wars. The Mandalorian uses Baby Yoda as a human shield.
That's so
What are
dumb.
they doing? We're going to talk about Star Wars. Some people just don't want to talk about Star Wars. I was talking about Star Wars. You're Fox News?
I'm going to be on Fox tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
officially Fox.
So the Mandalorian was using Baby Yoda as a human shield. The liberal media doesn't talk about how Alderaan was being used as a base for the Rebel Alliance. Say what you want about the Sith Lord, but I mean, he dealt with the Trade Federation and that whole blockade of Naboo.
Okay, and for those who are a little bit less familiar with Star Wars, could you draw the analogy a little bit for Toby?
You want to start with episode 1. You see
how
those.
how does that connect to this issue or why you're out here today?
What issue? What's going on here? What is this? Oh, Israel? Oh, huh. Hard to say, really. Thank you.
The parallels he's speaking on are a bit uncanny. No, it's not uncanny at all. Guys, George Lucas literally based Star Wars off the Viet Cong. He said America was the bad guys and the rebels were the Vietnamese. That literally is the whole basis for Star Wars. So that's why the parallels are uncanny. Here.
Something very interesting with Star Wars, if you think about it. The good guys are the rebels. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes.
So it was a very anti-authoritarian...
Yeah, it's like not even a question. Like he's like, yeah, no, I did it off of the Viet Cong. Remember, Viet Cong, not even like the rest of the Northern Vietnamese Liberation Front, like straight up, the most like communist, the most rugged, the ones that are still by Americans used, the Al-Qassam brigades of Vietnam. Okay, and you believe him? Why wouldn't I believe him? Of course he did it off of that. It's the whole plot of the movie. He created it. Why would he? First of all, you think he has a reason to lie? Now, the problem with this story, of course, is that Mark Hamill's a Zionist, but also it's so funny to look at this and be like, nah, he's lying actually. Like why would he lie in the direction that is critical of America? And not only that, but also the reason why it's important to understand is because a lot of these idiots consume this media and like literally refuse to reckon with the reality. Yeah. It's easy to forget how demonized the Viet Cong were by the Western media and political class. Guys, saying Viet Cong is important here. For the record, many of you probably don't know this, but during the Vietnam War, the American media, specifically the New York Times, but all of the mainstream media, said the exact same things about the Viet Cong, which is, of course, the American terminology for it. They said it about a lot of the Vietnamese resistance, almost all of it, but specifically the Viet Cong. Now, does this not, for the record, does this mean that like some of their anti-imperialist actions were not super violent? Of course they were. But guess what? They were in the right side of history. They were on the right side of history, and they were doing whatever they could. That's why I don't think you hear a lot of people going, do you condemn the Vietnamese Liberation Front any longer? Because when the dust settles and the monsters of imperialism leave, tucking their tails and cowering, the rest of the world will recognize the reality. And those who are on the wrong side of history will have to lie about their past behavior. That's it. That's how it works, always and forever. That's why I say history will vindicate us. That's it. The Divorcelli fans of the day would be promoting this stuff nonstop. Look, the South Vietnamese are being killed in Viet Cong terror attacks. They're terrorists. They killed 111 civilians. How could you, in any way, shape, or form, sympathize with them? Hamas sympathizers will have to lie? No. It's not about that at all. When we look back at historical wrongs, at least then, with the benefit of hindsight, we recognize what the true evil there is. That is precisely the reason why nobody talks about the ANC's violent actions against the apartheid South African regime, including violence against civilians, both collaborators and other civilians, because the apartheid is truly the greater evil. This is precisely the reason why one day I do believe that Palestine will be free. And many of those who routinely talked about any form of Palestinian resistance on terms considering them to be barbaric, rapist monsters who are simply fueled by anti-Semitic tendencies will be looked at in the same way that people look at Viet Cong terror now. This does not mean that who invaded Israel October 27th? That's so funny. Yeah. Hasbara bots are nothing more than NPCs. There is no better representation of that reality than this right in front of you. I try to reason with a Zionist. I try to get them to understand what I am trying to describe to them, and they immediately go back to talking points. Who invaded Israel on October 27th? He was so horny to get that out that he couldn't even type October 7th and instead wrote October 27th, as though this is an effective counter to what I'm describing. Actions on October 7 were indeed violent. I know you're horny for me. I can tell. You've been in here since 2020 and you're chirping up over here. I know. That violence is a consequence of the much greater, much larger form of violence that Israel has conducted for far too long without even a shred of Western scrutiny. Okay? This is precisely the reason why I say in the future, no, you're not neutral, dumbass. You literally said who invaded. Why do you guys do this? Everybody knows exactly what you're saying when you do this. You are not fooling a single person in this chat. This is a very pro-Palestinian community way before October 7. Why do these people think, oh, if I just say just curious, like people will be stupid enough to believe me? Nobody thinks you're actually neutral. One, because you can't be neutral when it's literally an apartheid. You can't be neutral in the face of the genocide that is ongoing. It's a ridiculous position. It's a laughable position. What do you mean you're neutral? Also, you said Hamas sympathizers will have to lie. and then brought up October 7. That's not neutral at all. That's simply you being too cowardly to admit your actual position. Why are you too cowardly to admit your actual position? Because, ironically, it ties back to what I was saying. Even now, even before the dust has settled, everybody recognizes how gross and inhumane the Israeli genocidal campaign has been. This is precisely why so many Zionists are at least a little bit scared and demonstrate a little bit of self-preservation on their social footprint online to say, oh, I'm just neutral. Oh, I want Palestine to be free. That's it. Bro has DJ in his username. You know he's blasting the worst techno known to man. Oh, yeah. The essence of being a leftist is being dismissed as unserious for being correct too quickly. Nathan Tankus. That's funny. That's a good line. Yeah. It is true. So yeah, there you go, guys. Remember, anyone with even a shred of dignity now understands that obviously the Viet Cong were on the right side of history. They were doing what is just. They were doing what is righteous. They were defending their nation. They were fighting for emancipation from a rabid, violent imperialist force that killed an infinite larger number of civilians in South Vietnam than the Viet Cong ever could have killed, even if they wanted to. Okay? But of course, that was violence conducted by the American state, and therefore, at the time, that was seen as perfectly valid, and then later dismissed down the line. That's why you don't hear about it as much. The military's official policy was to make atrocity propaganda as a part of its PSYOP campaign against the Viet Cong. This included graphic gore of dead babies and decapitated bodies, which they noted should be used sparingly for maximum effect. Let's look at this. Oh, there's more. There's more. I hate this piece of shit so much, you ugly freak. I hate... William F. Buckley is one of the absolute worst historical monsters of American fascist propaganda and fascist apologia.
Perhaps certain aspects of the quarrel in Vietnam that touch especially on your thesis and your concern and the whole nature of it. And that is the suspicion that some people have of a double standard of selective indignation. For instance, you refer to the heroic Vietnamese resistance to American power.
I think it's absolutely heroic.
Yeah, sure.
Isn't that crazy? You're about to hear, damn near, I'm letting you know, you're about to hear Noam Chomsky be on the right side of history, of course. You're about to hear Noam Chomsky be on the right side of history, but pay close attention to everything this hamster of a man has to say, this wormy little dipshit. Okay?
Amazing.
Now, I understand I understand enough about language to understand the use of heroism in that way.
If you notice, there are a few lines below I say, or above I say something about quite apart from any question of politics.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Right. Now, suppose I were
This is, by the way, the only time I've ever seen Noam Chomsky be young.
to write about the heroic resistance of the Nazis to the Liberation Army, for instance, their use of torture, their use of mass reprisals.
I don't consider that heroic
Well,
at
why
all.
is that heroic? I mean, that means
Bitch, if he was saying the Nazis are heroic, by the way, Noam is Jewish. William F. Buckley is a literal Nazi. Okay? So it's kind of interesting that he is telling a dude who is Jewish as an actual Nazi, oh, your defense of the Viet Cong is similar to defending the Nazis, as a matter of fact. Not a literal Nazi, but he was openly white supremacist. Okay, dude, come on. That's a distinction without that significant of a difference. Jesus Christ. It's pretty funny. I've actually shown many times over the Gore Vidal, the famous Gore Vidal, William F. Buckley back and forth debates. And everybody always like hails that as like the peak of political commentary and political discourse. And it's pretty funny because it literally devolves into Gore Vidal calling him a crypto fascist and William F. Buckley calling Gore Vidal a queer, a homosexual. So like, not much has changed. You know what I mean?
means that they were doing everything they
Reprisals
possibly
and-
could.
No, I don't think that
Well, why
heroism
not?
doesn't. Well, then I think we do disagree on the use of language.
But
I don't think that reprisals against
we do know that
innocent
Viet
populations
Cong have used fire weapons to destroy whole villages, children, that they have disemboweled mayors and so on.
Dude, look at that. Look at that. Dude, straight up. Identical. Identical, dude. Oh, the Nazis. You're defending the Nazis. If you're defending the Viet Cong saying they're heroic, you're defending the Nazis. Look at what the Viet Cong did. Why are there so many right-wing weirdos that ruin that side part hairstyle for the rest of us? Well, maybe you shouldn't have the hairstyle then.
And hung them up and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
let's-
Now, this is heroic, I
No,
understand.
that is not.
Oh.
That's depraved.
That's
in fact,
depraved.
in my opinion. Yeah.
So
But that's very, very marginal. In Viet Cong
Well, why is it
activity.
marginal?
In fact, it's marginal. That's a question of fact. And
It's
this
a
is
question
what
of
we
fact,
argue,
yeah.
The question, in fact, you know, this. It's quite. You know, I think there's perfect unanimity about this in the people who've studied it. For example, if you look at someone like, say, Douglas Pike, you know, American Foreign Service agent, as the chief expert on the Viet Cong, and you read his book carefully.
Using American State Department against right-wing shitheads? Check. Using American State Department assessment against those who are trying to champion the cause? Check. Literally nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
You discover that he points out that it was in response to the American military effort that the Viet Cong turned from their attempt to build mass popular support by through the organizational methods that involved giving people an actual role in organizing and controlling their own society and institutions. They turned from that to physical force in reaction to the American intervention.
Well,
and if you read, if I have many examples of this quoted in the book from aid documents, let's say, or from pacification manuals where people point out.
By the same token, you can say that the Nazis turned to torture in France in reaction to Eisenhower's landing in Normandy.
One really wants to talk about Viet Cong terror during the period prior to the American intervention, then again, I think just about all commentators, Dennis Werner, Bernard Fall, whoever you like, has agreed that by and large, this was terror directed extremely selectively against oppressive and external village officials.
The burning of
sent
Joan
in
of
by-
Arc was selective.
Pardon?
Yeah, collaborators. Yes, they violently tortured and f***ed up collaborators. So does every Palestinian resistance group. They do that too. Every time they do that in the West Bank, you'll see news footage of it being like, look at how violent these Palestinians are. The ANC literally had a method called necklacing, okay? The ANC would take black collaborators with the apartheid regime and put tires around their bodies, around their neck, and then light them on fire, okay? I believe it was in Tulkarm that they hung some of the Palestinian collaborators, if I'm not mistaken, that were giving out positions of Palestinian resistance in the West Bank to the Israeli government. Now, that's horrible. That's horrible. Okay. It is. It's horrible, right? In Tulkarm, they hanged a bunch of Palestinians for collaborating with Israel. How crazy, how violent are these guys, right? Well, guess what? When all they know is violence, in moments of radical resistance against a much more powerful entity, yes, people end up resisting by very violent means. But the reason why I'm bringing up the process of necklacing is obviously not to criticize the ANC. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because after learning that, what does that tell you? Do you think that the ANC is now bad? Do you think their cause was not just the abolition of the apartheid? Do you think actions such as that one were not used against them regularly with regular frequency to say, the blacks are barbaric, the blacks, they're crazy? It was counter propaganda at the time. The blacks. That accent sucks. I know, I can't do a South African accent. I know. Shut the fuck up. This is why I say always that when the dust settles, you will not think of the atrocious acts of those who resisted against the much greater evil. That's it. We did the same during the American Revolution. We killed collaborators with Britain. If only we still did that. No, I'm just kidding. Even Ukraine kills traitors. Everyone does. For South African accent, try saying Sudafrika. 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 We should be tarring and feathering collaborators with the British as well, which would mean I would get tarred and feathered because I love Mick Lynch and Jezza.
The burning of Joan of Arc was selective too.
But I think
the point is, it was intended to establish a universal point.
It was
so was the
intended
execution
to,
of Eichmann selective.
Well, but you see, there's a very big difference. I think, you see, if you want to, personally, I'm against all kinds of terror, no question. But if you want to understand the Viet Cong situation, then let's recognize a very great distinction. At least I recognize. Let's see what the political point of the terror was. See, after all, during that period, there were about 9,000 or 10,000.
Think about that. The conversation never changes. The methods of those who defend imperialism are the exact same. And those naysayers who are on the right side of history, who are on the side of justice and morality, like Noam is here, they get called defenders of terrorism. They get called supporters of terrorism. They are called into question anytime a violent atrocity can be propagandized. Always. And he does a phenomenal job of, in my opinion, navigating through that space without being like, yeah, dude, I don't give a shit, okay? Stop invading Vietnam. Because that's what the normal heart wants to say in that situation and be like, yes, dude, I know they did violent shit, but like, come on, the fuck are you doing? Yeah, that's why we have to literally gas southern Vietnam. Use Agent Orange. Permanently fuck them up. Shin Bet literally has Facebook groups for each Palestinian locality in which they try to hire and recruit collaborators for financial rewards and to passive-aggressively intimidate Palestinians from entering politics. They mostly get clowned on, but some collaborators do join in for the money, and they're often killed if found as sad, but ultimately the fault of occupation. There's another really gross way that Shin Bet operates. They will honey trap gay Palestinians, like queer Palestinians, and then blackmail them with revenge porn that they shoot of the queer Palestinians. They blackmail them into collaboration. That's right. Another, wonderful pro-gay Israel. There was a story on this a few months back. Yeah. They do that shit all the time. Yes. Yes. Don't ever listen to a single goddamn Israeli fascist about how woke and gay Israel is, okay? They don't give a shit. It's called pink washing, bitch. That's all that is. To be like, listen, we're doing fascism, but we're doing it in a gay way. So please, we're the beacon of democracy. That's why so many dumbass, cis, white gays were chirping about defending Israel because they went and sucked some dick in Tel Aviv one time and they never let it go. You not remember? After October 7, all the white gays were like, I love Israel. I love Israel. Palestinians and Hamas are haters of gay people. Assholes. Not Tyler? Of course not Tyler. No, I'm not talking about Tyler Oakley.
According to American sources, there were maybe 9,000 or 10,000 village officials of one sort or another killed by the Viet Cong, largely with the support of the villages. But at the same time, recall that there were perhaps 160,000 Vietnamese, if we accept Bernard Fall's figures again, killed by the Saigon government and the Americans. This is prior to 1965. That was a very different kind of terror, both in quantity and also in its political content.
I know, but
you see, just to mention this matter of double standard, there are really three kinds of terror in Vietnam. There's Viet Cong terror, there's the Saigon government terror, and there's American terror. And if you read what I've written, I say practically nothing about either Viet Cong terror or terror carried out by the Saigon government. Now, if one wanted to talk about that, one would have to point out that the terror carried out by the Saigon government is incredibly greater in extent and has a very different political purpose, which one could discuss. But I restrict myself to discussing American terror.
On that generality, but I gather that you believe it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do, and we could, that then does become a matter of fact, which one could discuss. Yeah, but I, as a matter of principle, almost restrict myself to the discussion of American terror. Not the terror carried out by the various sides in Vietnam, for many reasons. For one thing, because it's just qualitatively different in scale.
I could be tripping, but I thought William Buckley's son and wife outed him as gay in a biography. That would be not very shocking.
And for another thing, because I feel that we have some responsibility for it.
Your mic is popping and buzzing sometimes, really? Anyway, here's Chomsky's thought on his appearance on William Buckley's show. Buckley was infuriated him, but he said he would invite him on again. Of course, he never did, because all the depraved right-wing hacks he prefers to berate are people he can't respond to.
My sole contact with Buckley, which was of no particular significance as far as I was concerned, was that he invited me to be on a program,
Isn't it crazy that he's like, this is like 20 years ago?
a talk program that he ran called Firing Line. And yes, I was invited and was there for one program, and that was it. You can see the program. I understand it's been it now appears on the internet and so on. At the end, he said he was pretty angry. He said he would invite me back, but of course I never heard from him again. He was the maybe the leading figure in the so-called conservative movement. I don't think the term conservative is appropriate, but what's called the conservative movement. He was maybe its leading figure. He was maybe its leading intellectual. His journal was the House Journal. He was considered, not by me, but he was considered to be witty, articulate, knowledgeable, and so on, and much respected. Again, not by me, but I'm giving the general impression. What you're calling his successors, I assume you mean the so-called neoconservatives. I mean, they're even farther from conservatism. They're just extreme radical nationalists. Wolfowitz, Pearl, Cheney, the rest of them. It's defaming conservatism to associate them with conservatism. Conservatism has an honorable tradition, but it's not that. The same is true of Reagan. Reagan believed in military violence and destruction. Central America he virtually destroyed. He supported South Africa's.
Were Iranians actually chanting death to America? Probably. Wouldn't it be valid for them to do so, though? Are you a child? Why the fuck would that scare you? How do you not understand why that is a perfectly valid thing to say? Bro, we are the country that literally not only says death to Iran, but we do it regularly. You know what I mean? We do shit to fuck with Iran on a regular basis. Why the fuck wouldn't they say death to America? This is what I don't understand. People are like, I can't believe people hate us. I can't believe people hate our government, specifically. And it's like, yeah, dude, we do a lot of fucked up shit. Of course they're going to hate us. They are so valid in their hatred. Wouldn't you hate America if you did not live in America? It doesn't even necessarily mean that they hate Americans and want to kill Americans. They just hate the American government. We hate the American government. You know what I mean? Like, I hate the American government. You hate the American government if you're insane. You know what I mean? Why shouldn't you? It's so valid to hate the American government. This doesn't mean you hate the people. You hate the American government for squandering its revolutionary potential, for squandering all of the unimaginable wealth that it has generated. I was literally going to do this debate. I'm so mad that another chatter assisted you that I'm going to ban the chatter. This chatter, oh no, I just gave you guys a new weapon. This chatter signal boosted you, and I clicked on it like an idiot, and it was my debate. I was literally gonna be like, if you want to chant, we chant about shit that we hate all the time. Death to the top of the hour ad break, and I got. Okay, respect for the evolution. I'm gonna give you a 1 second ban for that. You get 1 second off too. God damn it, teamwork, dude. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. You can't be organizing against me. Don't do that. Organize against Israel, not me, okay? I'm your streamer. Bullshit. Solemn Tornado, thank you for the 27 gifted subs, allowing 27 people to no longer be attacked by the Solemn Tornado that is the 3-minute ad break. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Oh yeah, this was awesome. Bro, the Yemenis are so dope. They're so quick with it. Like, they got printers working extra fast, dude. They got so many goddamn printers. They should probably print a different logo that doesn't say, like, curse the Jews. You know what I mean? Like, it would be really cool if they just, like, stopped, you know, that part. That would be nice if they just didn't do that anymore. Because, like, everything else is so 10-10. You know, you're doing great. Yemen. Can I suggest this humble American Muslim Turkish guy, okay? Can I humbly suggest, oh my God, I was actually reading about the last Jew in Yemen. This is another phenomenal story. because it is very similar to the last Jewish man in Afghanistan. This dude and his family were extracted out of Yemen, okay? And he literally lived in Israel. He literally lived in Israel for a little bit and was like, fuck this, I'm going back. He brought an 800-year-old Torah from Yemen, and the government was like, what the fuck? You can't do, you stole that, is what the government said. And he still went back. He was like, let me tell you something. He was like, this Israel shit is fake and gay. I'm going back to Yemen. He is an anti-Zionist, ultra-Orthodox Yemeni Jew. The article from Times of Israel, when they were covering him, was talking about, the article was like, he has been like brainwashed or been propagandized by like a Haredi sect that was anti-Zionist or something. But he didn't like Israel because it was, I'm not joking, fake and gay. He said it was too secular for his taste. So he went back to Yemen and is in jail. Half of my family is Yemeni Jewish, but they ain't that cool. I mean, it's so funny. And then you think about that guy and you're like, no, dude, that guy's got no Yemen in him. You know, he's not Arab. He's just a Jewish man. And it's like, you are literally stealing his identity, in my opinion. When Israel says that as an ethnic background, you are simply just Jewish, and now you are Sephardic, or now you are Yemeni Jew, but you are still just Jewish, you are basically erasing this dude's culture and their identity. You're doing that and trying to, you're basically trying to create like a cohesive new identity in the in-group, and in that desperation, in that obviously fascist supremacist desperation, you're erasing such wonderful aspects of that dude's culture. It's odd. It's an odd thing to do. He preferred living in imprisonment than among the gays. Talk about commitment. Yeah, it's just really funny that this dude literally was like, nah, Israel is both fake and gay. I'm going back to Yemen. And then they put him in prison. He went back to Yemen and now he's in prison. He's like, it's fine. At least it's not gay here. I don't know. It's hilarious. It's like kind of a funny story. Yo, I was arrested at Emory and released today. If you'd like to get in touch, I'll be down to talk tomorrow. No! Biomart, the inventor of law tips. They arrested our paralegal, dude. What the I don't know if you're a paralegal or a law student or a lawyer. I don't know. Dude, so many Hasanabi heads were arrested. There's a dude in Vanderbilt graduating in a few weeks, law. There's a dude in Vanderbilt who was suspended from Vanderbilt. Another awesome anti-Zionist Jewish Hasanabi head. It's really fucked up. That's why viewership is down. Yeah, viewership is down because Hasanabi heads are getting arrested for engaging in radical acts of protest. Law tip, if you get arrested at a protest, make sure you contact Hasanabi immediately after being released. Yes. OSU Hasanabi head got arrested and let out today. Let's go. Netanyahu says 20,000 student protesters were trained by Hamas. Netanyahu... Wait, no, that's a meme. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's not real. No, that's not real. There's no way. This person is memeing. Come on, dude. It's a joke. It's real? No, it's not, bro. He did not actually say that 20,000 American students are actually Hamas. That's crazy. The number is actually 40,000. But yeah, like I said, this is so funny. Dude, if you think that your acts of protest are not being seen in the global south, you would be wrong. Okay? They see you, they hear you, they love it. Obviously, this terrifies the Zionist boomers more than anything else. They see this and they're like, they're terrorists. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. You got terrorists defending you. You're doing terror. The UN says as of 2022, there's one Yemeni Jew. Yeah, the guy I was talking about. The guy who literally left, went to another Arab country. Like his family was extracted out of Yemen, went to another Arab country. And it wasn't, as far as I understand, at least the Times of Israel article I read, wasn't that they fled, but instead, or they didn't flee like anti-Semitic acts or anything, even though plenty of Yemeni Jews did at the time. These guys stayed. They didn't flee because of the anti-Semitic incidents. There was a likelihood that they thought the Houthis might actually do something to them, but they fled because of famine, like the bombings and the famine, from what I understand. And then the father, literally came back to Yemen. There's a photo of him like showing an 800-year-old Torah that he brought from Yemen to Benjamin Netanyahu. And the reason why he left was because he said Israel is fake and gay. I mean, I'm not going to say stole. Calm down, brother. I mean, come on, dude. He's a Yemeni Jew. Like, okay, Jesus Christ. It's like, it's, you know, I think it's valid for him to keep it. Okay. That's a little ridiculous to be like, I mean, it sucks that like now Israel has it, but you know, come on. It's like, it's ridiculous to say stole. Like that's what the Yemeni government said, but is, you know, what do you mean? He's the last remaining Jew in Yemen. It's like, give him the Torah. It's his Torah. If he wants to bring it back, to Yemen, the Israeli government should give him the Torah. It's his Torah, bro. Come on. That's crazy. Like, what do you mean?